This is a demonstration using my engine simulator and a Freelander MEMS3 ECU of the feature which I found which blocks enrichment of the air-fuel ratio for a period of time of normal running after the ECU is started. So at the moment the ECU is just idling. You can see we're at idle engine speed. The machine state is 1, which is where it starts off. The timer hasn't been set yet. It's calculating an air-fuel ratio of 14.7 to 1, and that's what the ECU is using in the rest of its modelling. So if in this state I blip the throttle, you'll see a few things change. So we blip the throttle. You saw the engine speed and the throttle angle change there, but also the machine state has gone to 4. 4 is where it sits when it started the process, but it's not actually timing because the engine speed doesn't fall into the range that it's blocking. So you can see the countdown time has been set to 1,600 seconds. And if I blip the throttle again, let's just have another look. So you can see that when the revs were in the range, the machine state changes to 2 and the countdown timer starts counting down. You'll also see that the calculated air-fuel ratio shows quite an enrichment, but the air-fuel ratio being used by the ECU stays at 14.7 to 1, so it's blocking the enrichment that would normally be applied. And if I take this up to, say, a bit more throttle and put the RPM to 3000, so that puts it right in the band where it's blocking the enrichment. And you can see now that it's in machine state 2 and the countdown timer was ticking down from the 1600. When that timer reaches 0, it will stop blocking the enrichment, and you'll find that the AFR used by the ECU follows the calculated AFR. And that will also happen if the engine speed is allowed to rise above the range where it's blocking. So if I even briefly take the RPM to 4,500, now the ECU is using the calculated air-fuel ratio, and if I blip the throttle in that state, you can see how it's tracking. So the block has been turned off, the ECU is now using the ideal air-fuel ratio, and you can see that the machine state has gone to 3. 3 is just the final state that it ends up in. It never transitions out of that, so once it's decided not to block the effect, it never blocks it again. The timer will count down to 0, but nothing will happen when it gets to 0 now, and it's behaving normally.